Hello, I am Mac, at least for today, and everything's going to be okay. Today I want to talk about something I'm really excited about, and that is the creation of AI with human level intelligence. Now, if you've been watching my channel for a while, lately I've been doing a lot of videos about NewNet, a project that I've gotten involved in. NewNet is actually a spin-off of SingularityNET, and what SingularityNET is, it's a project that's been around for about 4 years, and its ultimate goal is to create AGI, artificial general intelligence, which is basically human level artificial intelligence. And like I said, I've actually, been following the project since it began back in 2017, since it launched. And since then, in the 4 years, they've done a lot of work, but of course, they've hit some roadblocks along the way. Their initial plan, well, before they could actually create AGI, to get started, their first plan was just to make a marketplace where you can purchase AI services. And the unique thing about it was that you could purchase those services with cryptocurrency, but kind of the ambitious idea to go with that is to also have like this network of AIs that were connected together so that they could work together, because most AIs are narrow AIs and can only do one thing. But the idea is to connect a whole bunch of AIs together so they can work in tandem and basically become AGI. Now that sounds simple, but it's a very monumental task to accomplish. But, like I said, their first step was to create this marketplace. And at the time they launched, the only programmable blockchain around was Ethereum. Nothing else was at the point they could actually develop on it yet. So they developed this marketplace on Ethereum. And the problem is, as things progressed, as Ethereum got more and more popular, it's still the most popular programmable blockchain. It didn't scale very well. And as anybody who uses Ethereum knows, there's extremely high gas fees, which are basically transaction fees. You have to pay like sometimes hundreds of dollars to do a transaction. And so that obviously didn't work well for an AI marketplace so they had their own token, the AGI token, and you could basically purchase AI services for super cheap with the AGI token. But the problem was, in order to do that transaction, you also had to pay a gas fee. So it's kind of pointless to pay a few cents of AGI token and hundreds of dollars of Ether in order to do a transaction. And so obviously the marketplace was never going to do well on Ethereum. So the new plan, which they started last year, 2021, was to move over to the Cardano blockchain. Cardano is a new blockchain. I've talked about it some, like Sunday Swap, decentralized exchange. It's on Cardano. So the plan was to move over there because there definitely would be lower fees, because Cardano has set transaction fees. It doesn't increase transaction fees as the network gets busier. But now the new plan to actually really get this whole thing started is to actually create their own blockchain. It'll be connected to Cardano. And well, let's just read about it. I've got an article about it, and the name of this blockchain is HyperScale. I'm going to share my screen. Oh, sorry, I keep calling it HyperScale. It's HyperCycle. I don't know why I want to call it HyperScale, because the point of it is to scale to hyper levels, but it's actually HyperCycle. Okay, so introducing HyperCycle, SingularityNET's radically scalable Ledgerless Cardano sidechain, optimizing AI microservices through TOTA IP protocol, proof of reputation, and Hydra-based Cardano interoperation. Greetings, Singularitarians. During the LEAP 2022 Emerging Technology Conference, I formally announced an exciting new initiative, HyperCycle. This is Ben Goertzel, the CEO of SingularityNET. Formally announced exciting new initiative, HyperCycle. HyperCycle will be a lightweight layer 2 architecture designed to enable inexpensive, high-speed, large-scale on-chain execution of microservices. This project is specifically designed to optimize AI-related processes and will have profound implications for many domains beyond AI that require efficient and scalable sidechain solutions. What is HyperCycle? HyperCycle is a novel blockchain framework that will leverage TOTA IP Ledgerless protocol, SingularityNET's proof of reputation, and Cardano's EUTXO extended unspent transaction output model, which I discussed in my Sunday swap videos, and Hydra sidechain framework. So that's a lot of stuff. We're going to be talking about all of this, like what is TOTA IP, what is proof of reputation, what is Hydra sidechain framework. So it is going to go into all of that. So the TOTA IP protocol, a secure ledgerless lightweight protocol with novel consensus mechanisms. So blockchains use ledgers, which is just a record of transactions, and it distributes that ledger across all computers in the network. So everybody has a copy of the ledger. This is the idea that Bitcoin started, was to make a decentralized ledger so that nobody could cheat the system. No one could change the ledger and give themselves all the money, because everyone has a copy of it. And so they know when there's no way that you could take over the network, and you'd have to control all of the computers in the network to change the ledger in order to cheat the system. So that's how blockchain got started. It's the idea of a distributed ledger. But TOTA IP does not use a ledger. So it's secure, even though it does not use a ledger. It's very lightweight, novel consensus mechanism. And then SingularityNET's proof of reputation system, a weighted liquid rank reputation system. We'll read more about that later. I won't try to explain it now. Cardano's platform, including Plutus language. Plutus is the smart contract language that Cardano uses. And then extended unspent transaction output model, EUTXO. I explained that in my Sunday swap video, but we might go into what extended UTXO is. The Cardano Hydra sidechain protocol, enabling important security related functionality and searchability. Really cool thing about Hydra is, so layer 2 solutions are, okay, so as a blockchain gets busy, as lots and lots of people try to do transactions in a blockchain, it gets so busy that things either slow down or transaction fees have to go up. With Cardano, transaction fees don't go up. Things just get really, really slow. So a layer 2 is something that like happens separate from the blockchain in order to process it more quickly, and then it will finalize it down on the original layer. So the way Hydra works is, okay, so Cardano uses staking pools. So people delegate their ADA to staking pools, and each staking pool is what keeps the ledger and authenticates the ledger, approves transactions, and so on. And there's like 3,000 some stake pool operators. And the way Hydra will work, hasn't happened yet, but later this year we're going to get the first update to start Hydra happening. Is that each stake pool basically becomes a Hydra head, where a stake pool can become a layer 2 blockchain sort of, and do a whole bunch of transactions within it. And then those transactions are finalized on the Cardano layer 1. So in theory, and what people say is that every Hydra head, every stake pool could do 1,000 transactions per second. Although that will have to eventually be finalized on the main blockchain. So that means, since there's like 3,000 stake pools, if all of those stake pools became Hydra heads and did 1,000 transactions per second, in theory, Cardano could do 3 million transactions per second. But it may not work quite that well, but it is a pretty exciting idea. But anyway, that's what Cardano Hydra sidechain is. And then OpenCog Hyperon's meta language, deployed as an extension to Plutus and leveraged to author application-specific smart contract DSLs, domain-specific language. So Meta is an AI domain-specific language, and we'll get into that. So it's pretty exciting that HyperCycle is going to be a combination of all these crazy technological things all together into one massive thing. So anyway, HyperCycle will be a paradigm shift for AI on blockchain and will open up the door to scalable microtransactions with revolutionary speed and efficiency. Something I forgot to mention is that AI can't actually run on a blockchain. Like I explained, blockchains are just ledgers. They're just they're practically just spreadsheets of transactions that are distributed to all the computers. So they're not really all that complex. Ethereum allows for smart contracts who are a bit more complex than regular transactions across a ledger, but something as complex as AI, or rather machine learning algorithms, can't possibly run on a blockchain. You can't run those inside of a ledger. It's nowhere near being able to run something that complex, and certainly not across an entire blockchain. So it's really exciting because this HyperCycle, which is ledgerless, is something that will actually be able to allow AI to run on it, sort of. I don't pretend to know all about how this works, but this will basically be a blockchain for AIs, a blockchain that has the speed and low latency for AIs to communicate to each other across it and also transfer value between each other. AIs will be able to pay each other to help each other complete services that a human is requesting, and then whoever owns that AI and is running that AI will profit from the work that it does within the network. So it's all very exciting, and in a way it will be kind of a giant brain of AIs working together. It will basically become like a human level intelligence, or at least that's in theory what will eventually happen. So why do blockchain and SingularityNET need HyperCycle? For blockchain technology to meet its potential, considerable scalability and efficiency improvements are required. So like I said, scalability is when, so many people try to use the network that it just gets bogged down. It doesn't scale. It doesn't scale up enough to be able to handle it. So blockchain needs better scalability. Cardano's blockchain design already offers a significant and necessary efficiency increase for the SingularityNET platform, which Hydra side chains like HyperCycle will augment. HyperCycle will be a customized layer 2 solution, decreasing cost and increasing speed, stimulating the widespread creation, deployment, and use of modular AI systems, ideal for cooperation and collaboration. The sidechain architecture is specifically designed to optimize sophisticated multi-agent AI systems like the microtransaction economy envisioned between AI agents on the SingularityNET platform. The details of the 3 HyperCycle components. The combined component technologies of SingularityNET, Cardano, and Toda will synergistically create a secure, scalable, and uniquely optimized solution for the SingularityNET platform to massively expand in utility, usability, and adoption. Okay, so component 1, we're going to explain what Toda IP protocol is. Toda IP protocol and asset model. Toda IP protocol is an innovative alternative to the cumbersome replicated distributed ledger technology at the core of most blockchains. Through its ledgerless design, Toda IP protocol massively reduces the overhead of standard ledger technologies. Toda IP is a radically decentralized protocol where individual records are associated with their own localized ledgers. In this dynamic, records act as nodes in a blockchain network, providing their own record as well as validation to other transactions. The second component of HyperCycle, SingularityNET's proof of reputation system, will be essential in determining, oh my gosh, can't say that right now, transaction validators alongside the unique TOTA IP consensus mechanism. I honestly don't understand TOTA much at all, other than what I just read. It's a very complex protocol, and it sounds good to me, I guess, even though I can't understand it. But moving on, component 2, SingularityNET proof of reputation. HyperCycle will employ SingularityNET's proof of reputation system, an algorithmic framework for adaptively updating reputation values associated with agents in a network. The system also leverages machine learning to identify and predict reputation fraud. The SingularityNET proof of reputation system helps avoid various types of attacks on the network without creating burdensome overhead for transactions. Cardano blockchain is the third component underlying HyperCycle design, supporting the secure coordination and transaction processing of the TOTA IP protocol and proof of reputation system. So basically, proof of reputation is another type of consensus mechanism. So we've got proof of work. What way proof of work is, that's what Bitcoin uses, is that all of the computers in the network have to mine, meaning they have to, people say it's solving algorithmic puzzles, but all it really is guessing numbers. They're basically hashing the code. They're guessing codes, basically like trying to guess somebody's password. They're guessing codes over and over until they basically win the lottery and come up with the correct number. And then whichever computer wins, they get to mine that block and write the ledger, and then everybody else approves the ledger, and the transactions go through. Basically what that is a way to keep anyone from taking over. So in order to take over and steal everybody's money, you would have to have you'd have to own over half the computers in the network. And then you could start making invalid transactions happen. And since you have a majority vote, you could make invalid, incorrect things happen, and you could steal everybody's money. But that's prevented because everybody has to have really powerful computing power. Then proof of stake is, in order to be valid and be able to validate, you have to have a certain amount of money staked. So nobody can take over that network because you'd have to have trillions, maybe billion, well, I would not trillions. There's no blockchain that, other than Bitcoin, has been over a trillion before. But anyway, you'd have to have billions and billions of dollars. You'd have to own over half the money staked in the blockchain in order to take over that many validators. So then in a proof of reputation system, the way it sounds like is that each node will basically gain reputation the more they act the way they're supposed to. So a computer running on the network, it will probably start out with 0 reputation when it first starts. And then as it works the way it's supposed to and doesn't do anything bad, it will gain reputation. Then if it makes a mistake, or if it tries to cheat the system, it will lose reputation. It will get less power in the network. So it's just another way of making sure that everybody's doing what they're supposed to and preventing bad actors from taking over the network. You decrease their reputation if they do something wrong. You increase their reputation when they're doing things right. Basically, that's the way it sounds to me. But anyway, took enough time on that part. Component 3, Cardano, Plutus, EUTXO, and Hydra protocol. Cardano provides the foundational layer of HyperCycle sidechain, which leverages Cardano's Hydra protocol EUTXO model and the verifiably secure Plutus smart contract language. Okay, really quick. I explained this in the Sunday swap video, the first Sunday swap video, but EUTXO is different from the accounting model. In the accounting model, money gets transferred instantly from one wallet to another. In like Ethereum. Ethereum uses accounting. When you make a transaction, as soon as that transaction goes through and gets approved, the money instantly moves from one wallet to another wallet. In EUTXO, in UTXO, which is what Bitcoin actually uses, it uses UTXO. Instead of transferring instantly from one wallet to another, the amount of money that you're wanting to transfer is basically put into a separate little package, a UTXO, an unspent transaction output. So it's kind of like you're mailing a letter with money in it to somebody. It exits your wallet, it leaves your wallet, it goes into this separate container, which is stored on the blockchain, and then later it gets delivered to the wallet that you're sending it to. And then the extended EUTXO is that, the money you're sending gets put into a package, and then it can wait until it is ready to go through a smart contract and do more complex stuff, and then it will complete whatever special things are supposed to happen. So that's the extended UTXO in a nutshell, in my layman's term, which is probably very messy and not quite correct, but it's how I understand it. So anyway, Cardano's Hydra protocol provides a flexible and secure means of processing transactions off-chain, which I explained is that each stake pool becomes a Hydra head and can do like 1,000 transactions per second. The protocol allows rapid processing of a large number of transactions with minimal storage requirements. The verifiably secure technology of Cardano, EUTXO, and Plutus smart contract language are also uniquely well suited to the HyperCycle sidechain. HyperCycle will run Plutus smart contracts and host more library functions exclusively available for Plutus scripts operating on the HyperCycle sidechain. In addition, OpenCog's Hyperon meta language, a customized language for advanced AI and proto AGI, this is the part that I'm really excited about, is that this is the beginning of them starting to develop proto AGI. And they just mentioned OpenCog Hyperon. OpenCog Hyperon is the AGI that they are developing, or rather it's the framework that connects all of these AIs together to create kind of this huge brain of AIs all thinking together and communicating together and using all of their skills together in order to be able to do many things like a human brain does. I mean, we can do all kinds of different things. Most AI can only do one thing. They can understand speech or they can drive a car, but no one AI can do all of these different things. But by connecting all these AIs into a huge framework, which is what OpenCog Hyperon is, and of course, it has to have something to run on. And so HyperCycle, from my understanding, is this network that OpenCog Hyperon will be able to run on. All of these AIs will be able to communicate with each other, will be able to send money, internet of value through this whole thing. And it's just so exciting. I'm so excited for all of this. But anyway, yeah, so the meta language is the language that OpenCog Hyperon uses. And that will allow for advanced AI and proto AGI will be deployed as a Haskell framework. Haskell is just the programming language that Cardano is written in. Haskell framework and utilized to create Plutus-based domain-specific languages and low no-code interfaces for vertical application areas like finance, medicine, social media, and supply chain. Why the world needs HyperCycle. That's Ben Goertzel at the LEAP conference he was just at. Why the world needs HyperCycle. SingularityNET was founded to promote the emergence of a benevolent singularity through advances in AI and blockchain technology. Delivering on this vision requires advances in AI, but also a more efficient and scalable blockchain infrastructure. HyperCycle is a critical piece to the puzzle of enabling exponential API calls on the SingularityNET platform through the vision of interoperating and autonomous AI agents interacting at scale. These collaborative agent interactions will allow the emergence of higher AI problem solving and intelligence towards the goal of generally intelligent systems. So just what I was explaining. The scalability and speed of HyperCycle are critical to the emergence of AGI. How to learn more about HyperCycle. HyperCycle is in its early stages of development with a current focus on integrating and synergizing these diverse software designs to form a powerful and coherent whole, optimized for AI use. The project will be a collaboration between SingularityNET and Toda with a team of technical experts drawn from both ecosystems. To learn more about the HyperCycle architecture, its component protocols, and more, visit the HyperCycle website. Read the HyperCycle white paper and sign up for the newsletter to be notified of updates. Sign up for the SingularityNET newsletter, SingularityNET website, follow them on Twitter, Facebook, watch this exciting project unfold, connect and collaborate with SingularityNET community members on Telegram and Discord, and see you there. All right. So I think I've said enough. I've talked a lot about this. I'm super excited about this, and I can't wait. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I'm in it for the long haul. I mean, I've been following SingularityNET for 4 years, and I'm now getting actually involved in one of its spin-offs, and I'm going to keep going for to see. I'm going to go along for this ride for as long as I can and see what happens. I'm super excited about it, and if you're worried about AI taking over the world, the point of SingularityNET is that super intelligent AI is going to happen one way or another. We don't want it to be in the control of big tech companies. That's unfortunately the way it's going. A lot of big tech companies are creating their own really powerful AIs, but SingularityNET is decentralized and democratically controlled, not by a single company, but it's going to be governed by the community, by everybody who's involved. And I think that is a lot better. So it's not, I don't think it's going to be an evil AI. I think it's going to be benevolent AI, which is the goal of SingularityNET. And we want to achieve AGI before the big tech companies create it and use it to control us even more with their technology. We want it to be a benevolent, democratically controlled AI thing. But anyway, this is my first video about HyperCycle and kind of my first video about SingularityNET, oddly enough, even though I mentioned it like 4 years ago when I was interviewing people, but they didn't care about it, so I didn't talk about it very much. But it's good to finally be talking about this project that I've been following for so long on my channel. But anyway, I have been Mac. Thank you for joining me for a day. And remember, everything's going to be okay.